In part two, scene one, the defendants have decided to testify, are subjected to brutal cross-examination, and convicted by a unanimous jury. Oh, and I see the foreman of the jury, Henry N., has just arrived. Hello, Henry. Good to see you. Scene two takes place between 1921 and 1925 as appeals are pending. It includes two arias for Sacco, with a woman to be the opera's only aria that Blitzstein completed from start to finish, and the whole shoe, which he started 16 times but never got past measure 24. That, in my version, quotes a little bit from The House I Live In, and There Is a Garden from Bernstein's Trouble in Tahiti, which was dedicated to Blitzstein. After a dialogue with Mrs. Evans and the two arias, Sacco has a mad scene, hallucinating that his wife and son are being tormented. In a neighboring cell, Vanzetti urges him to end his hunger strike. Then, on November 18th, 1925, another prisoner, Celestino Medeiros, passes a note to guard Edward Miller, confessing to the crime for which Sacco and Vanzetti were convicted, exculpating them. I based Medeiros' music on a Portuguese folk song. Attorney William Thompson takes over the defense, inveighing against governmental secrecy in a scene which we decided to cut for this two-part presentation. A piano version is posted on the website, along with a number of other interesting cut sections. In part two, scene three, Vanzetti laments the theft of his books to editor Aldino Felicani and Defense Committee Secretary Mary Donovan, a role that Helene created in 2001 and recreates in this production. In scene four, April 9th, 1927, Judge Thayer rejects final arguments in the last speeches of the defendants to the court, sentencing them to death, then gloats about it to Professor James P. Richardson. Did you see what I did to those anarchistic bastards? In scene five, May 12th, 1927, journalist Philip Stong interviews the defendants for the New York World. Sacco just wants everything to be over. Vanzetti makes his famous statement, "If it had not been for these things." In scene six, Governor Alvin Fuller interviews Medeiros, but refuses to give him credence. His Select Advisory Committee, headed by Harvard President A. Lawrence Lowell, hears Thompson's arguments, but refuses to recommend overturning the conviction, since all Italians lie and steal, just like Jews. Mary Donovan loses her job for speaking at a Boston Common rally August 7th, 1927. In the final scene, 7, August 23rd, 1927, Sacco and Vanzetti are led to the electric chair. Thompson asks for and receives assurance from Vanzetti that they are innocent. Music from my Rosenberg cantata, "We Are Innocent," is quoted under those words. Blitzstein's sister, Joe Davis, told me he was thinking of Julius and Ethel Rosenberg while writing this opera about Sacco and Vanzetti. Thompson asks Vanzetti to eschew violence and to forgive. A chorus of bigots set to a 1930s cabaret song of Blitzstein, "Who Cares?" gives him pause. Sacco dies, extolling anarchy and family. Vanzetti dies, saying, "I wish to forgive some people for what they do." Pulitzer Prize-winning Boston Herald editor F. Lauriston Bullard, in a New York Times guest editorial, August 28, 1927, discusses the ramifications of the case and the importance of fighting against capital punishment. And then, on July 19th, 1977, Governor Michael S. Dukakis orders that any stigma and disgrace be forever removed from the names of Sacco and Vanzetti, calling on the people of Massachusetts to reflect upon these events and prevent their reoccurrence. Those are words of his that he recorded for us specifically for this production. The chorus has the last word. This is the end of the opera. After this, it begins. And now, part two of the staged orchestral premiere of Sacco and Vanzetti.